Hi, I'm Jilly G. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you my pumpkin crumb cake, gluten-free of course. And first thing you want to do is preheat your oven to 350. So first up, in this bowl, I have 2 cups of my gluten-free flour mix. And my other dry ingredients are 2½ teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon. And we'll just go all in one. And just mix this together. And you want everything at room temperature, like always. And I have a 9x13 glass baking dish here, greased with butter. So set that aside. I have 1 stick of butter, which is a ½ cup of butter, and it's really soft. You don't want it melted, but soft enough that we can whisk up the butter and the honey together. And always, I'll give you the equivalents to sugar, but 1 cup of honey. And just mix this together. You could use a stand mixer if you want to, or even a hand mixer, but this is fine. And once you've got that all mixed together, I have 3 eggs, and I'm just going to put them all in, cracked into a separate bowl first. Last egg, and just mix this till it's really combined. 1 tablespoon of vanilla, and I have a 15-ounce can of pumpkin here. You can use your own pumpkin if you have pumpkin from your own garden, and you could just cook it and puree it down. You could also use sweetmeat squash, which I did one year. I grew in my garden, and it's a big gray pumpkin is what it looks like. It's very similar to pumpkin. It's lighter in color, it's not as orange, but it goes really good in this recipe too. So just put all of your pumpkin in here and mix this together. This is just pumpkin, not pumpkin pie filling. And once this is all mixed together, we're going to start adding in our dry mixture. And I have 1 cup of milk, and we'll alternate between the 2. I've done this with heavy cream before instead of whole milk, and it works really well. So a little bit of flour. And just mix this till it's combined. And then I'll go about half of the milk and mix this together. More of the flour. Our other half of the milk. And the rest of our flour. And once that's mostly mixed in, I'm going to switch to my spatula and scrape down the bowl. Make sure we've got everything that might be on the bottom. If you like pumpkin, this is the perfect recipe this time of year when everything pumpkin starts coming out. So we'll just pour this into our pan. And then I just kind of level it out. I know it looks a little bit runny, but it will be okay. So put this aside. And now for our crumb topping. I have another stick of butter, ½ cup, cut up here. I had it in the fridge to keep it cold. Although if your kitchen is cold, it doesn't really matter. 1 cup of coconut sugar, a ½ teaspoon of salt, and I have about a cup of toasted chopped almonds here. You don't have to put nuts in here. And this would normally call for brown sugar, but we're doing coconut sugar today. So coconut sugar, salt, and because I'm going to be using my hands to rub in the butter, I'm just going to mix this with my hands first. Just mix it around just a little bit and dump in your cold butter. And I cut it into these little pieces just to make it a little bit easier. And so I know you've seen me before, but just rub it between your fingers. You could use a pastry blender if you want, or 2 knives, or even a food processor. And just keep going with it till all of your butter is mashed into the flour sugar mixture. And just make sure there's no really big pieces of butter. And once it looks like this, we're about ready to go. And once you're happy with that, get everything that flew out of the bowl, put it back in there, or use a bigger bowl next time. And now you can put your nuts in if you're using nuts. And then I just mix those around. You know, I didn't used to use nuts in anything. Once I went gluten-free and started using almond flour, I decided I like nuts in almost everything. But you don't have to put almonds in. You could even use pecans or walnuts, whatever kind of nuts you like, or no nuts. Now that you've made a mess again, get all of this bring over our cake batter, and we're just gonna start just sprinkling this over the whole top. And I make sure to get it all the way to the edges. And then just kind of smooth it out a little bit. And once you've got that flattened on the top of there and everywhere else, we're gonna put this in the oven again at 350 for about 45 minutes to an hour. I'll check it at 45 minutes and we'll see what we've got. Don't forget to set your timer. The cake is done when you put a toothpick in the middle and it comes out clean. I tested about 3 different spots here. I'm gonna let this cool off for about a half hour or so. It's really good when you serve it warm with some whipped cream, but it needs to cool off first. So set this aside, let it cool off. My cake has been cooling for about a half hour. I have some heavy cream that I've whipped here to go on top of it, but let's cut into it. You don't really need a knife. Loosen the sides a little bit there. Looks really good. Put some whipped cream on top. It's still just barely warm. Looks really good. Let's give this a bite. It's really good. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.